Всем привет из Kyiv, Ukraine's capital. I'm Connor Klein and welcome to another Tip Thursday. Now, if you watch like Western mainstream media a lot, you would think that Ukraine is an extremely dangerous country the way that they report on it. But on this video, I'm going to be giving you an overview of exactly what it's really like here, how safe and dangerous it really is to travel to if you are from North America or Western Europe. It's going to change your mind about the country for sure if you've been relying on like the mainstream media. So let's get into today's video. I'm speaking to you from Maidan, the main square, and probably a name you might be familiar with. So let's get into it and I'll be showing you exactly how safe it is here. So I'm speaking to you now from Odessa, which is in the south of Ukraine on the Black Sea, and this is a city where most people will speak to you in Russian first, but of course you can speak in Ukrainian. That's not a problem at all here. And so I was saying, when I was back down in Kyiv, we were there at Maidan, where, you know, the revolution happened, where, you know, I was there in Euromaidan back in 2014, end of 2013. And here in Odessa has, by and large, avoided any of the strife or the negative publicity, except for one day in May of that year in 2014, where there were some people died here in clashes between pro-Ukrainians and pro-Russians. But otherwise, I've spent like every summer here, or at least part of the summer since then, and it's been completely safe. I've never had any problems. I would say in general that things that you know, are kind of nuisances in terms of it being dangerous in, say, Western European cities, especially in a place like Italy or Spain, where there's a lot of tourism, like petty crime. That's something that you just don't really experience here in Ukraine. I hear occasionally stories about someone, you know, being mugged, but it's pretty rare. And I have to say, if you kind of don't stand out as a naive tourist here, then I think the chances of you having an unfortunate experience are even less. I've never had any issues, never had anyone try to rob me. I'm even trying to think of someone trying to give me the wrong change. I think it might have happened maybe once in Kyiv. I think they tried to give me the wrong change in a bar just after the European Football Championships, where they must have been used to a lot of people not understanding the currency. But that was the only time. So things like petty crime are pretty low here, especially if you're in the city center and you're not on the outskirts somewhere. Then those kind of problems are something you can completely avoid here. What else can I say? It's completely safe to walk around at night. I would feel a lot safer here at night walking around than I do in London, for example, or a big European capital like Paris, or even Dublin in Ireland. I think there's you know, just a higher propensity to violence, especially from drunk people after all the bars close. There are of course a lot of drunk people also in Ukraine, but I've just never had them be that aggressive to me. So yeah, I've never really had any issues with that. Risk of terrorism, of course, as I referred to, there is a war in the east of Ukraine in Donetsk and Lugansk, but when you're not actually in those two oblasts, or the parts where the actual fighting is, it's completely safe. There's very little in the way of risk of some sort of terrorist attack, unlike what you'll of course unfortunately see in Western Europe, in big cities like Berlin, Paris, London. Of course have been hit in recent years by terrorist attacks by Islamic fundamentalists targeting tourists. So this is something you definitely don't have to worry about here. So one thing that you are going to see here in Ukraine are weapons and soldiers that have been mobilized. That's pretty common. Here behind me there, you can see an old cannon, but that's not really anything to worry about, of course. But don't be shocked if you come here and see lots of soldiers in uniform, because of course there is a war in the east of the country and people have been, especially young men, have been mobilized to serve there. So you're going to see them in their uniforms, especially around train stations, because obviously that's how they travel in large part to the front in the east of the country. And yeah, that's just something that's the reality that you're going to see a lot of. That of course doesn't affect you whatsoever, because you're going to be visiting cities like Kyiv, Odessa, Lviv, maybe Dnipro, Kharkiv, and there's no danger or risk of fighting at all. Touch wood, of course, that continues. So if you enjoyed this video, then strike the like button, squeeze that subscription button if you haven't done so already, and whack the notification bell beside it so you get notified of my next videos. And whatever you do, don't think that Ukraine is a dangerous country to come to. As I've outlined in this video, it is safer than most other places you're going to travel to across the continent. You know, don't just focus on what is sensationalist in the media to tell you this is a dangerous place. It is not. I've had phenomenal trips here, and I want you to also be able to share in those and partake and enjoy something similar. So don't let whatever you read put you off this great place to visit. So with that said, it is Do Pobачення and do svidaniya from Kiev, Ukraine. On this beautiful summer's evening, I'm going to go and enjoy the sunshine in one of Europe's safest capitals.